Well, next month's by-election in Hamilton West could provide an early glimpse of what to expect in election year.
The bellwether seat is normally won by the party that goes on to run the country, and this year all bets are off.
Senior reporter Connor Whitten spent the week on the campaign trail with the top candidates for the job.
It pays to stay alert on the campaign trail.
Candidate for the Hamilton West by-election.
I've got one in my back pocket already.
Oh, I've already given.
You have to be upbeat.
You too. Yeah. Mate, you two are legendary. They are timeless.
And ready for anything.
It's a bit hot, very hot.
We're going to bypass a national MP.
Because you never know what you're going to get.
And even as things fall down around us, here we are campaigning to represent the people of Hamilton West.
It's the same unpredictable story for the by-election in Hamilton West, with 2 weeks to go till polling day. But whoever wins here will send a message. This is a swing seat a year out from an election. And in 8 of the last 10 contests, the party that ends up running the country has been the one that wins Hamilton West.
Look, Hamilton is a unique place, and I wouldn't want it to be seen as an indicator of the general election because every electorate is different.
It may be unique, but the issues in Hamilton mirror those in the rest of New Zealand.
Obviously, crime is a huge issue.
We're talking about crime as the number one issue.
The number one issue obviously is crime.
Midas Jewellery has been hit by ram raids twice in the past 2 years.
We had a really bad one where a Ford Ute came flying in the shop.
Most of the shop and stock was damaged.
Like an explosion, really. I would estimate probably about $150,000 worth of damage.
A third time, teenagers walked in with hammers. Paul Griggs chased them off with an iron bar.
I think if we had another bad ram raid or another severe one after those last couple, you've got to question whether it's worth being in business, because
that's a pretty big call.
It is a big call, yes.
Just round the corner, Ellie Rogers had her shop ram raided in August.
Did it cost you a lot as a business?
Oh, absolutely.
$50,000 of damage, and despite video footage, no one's been caught.
How worried are Hamilton businesses about
They're pretty worried, yeah, because there's a lot happening and I don't think you hear about half of them on the news anymore.
National claims to have the solution, military boot camps for repeat offenders.
We think that the Youth Military Academy is a really good pathway to support them, to acknowledge that there will be consequences from actions.
But the last time the idea was tried, 85% reoffended within just a year.
I'll give you a number, 500% increase in ram raids since Labor came to power, and 1 in 5 ram raids in this country in Waikato.
So what level of reduction in ram raids would be a success?
Well, look, the policy doesn't announce that.
Nationals candidates outselling the message.
Actions and consequences for us is really important.
Yes. And while retailers are receptive, even they have reservations.
I mean, they have been tried before, as we well know.
Well, they'd have to catch them first, and I think that's probably the biggest issue. It's a great idea in theory, but I don't know if it would work in reality.
And other experts aren't convinced.
Do you think that works?
I don't think that works.
Youth worker Tom Hunt deals with 20 young people who've carried out ram raids in Hamilton.
I don't think punishment straight away is like drilling them is going to change anything.
He says the city needs more youth workers.
That's where the change will come, where the outcomes are to just change the world of that young person.
Half an hour south in Te Awamutu.
Welcome to my gym. It's lovely to have you here. I love my gym so much.
Labor candidate Georgie Danzy is checking in on her business.
Since the campaign started, I have to say my gym attendance has been incredibly low.
The economy and cost of living are also front of voters' minds.
For me, the biggest issue is the cost of living for people.
That's a reflection of the government's management, isn't it?
I think this is happening across the world.
This week, the Prime Minister joined the campaign in Hamilton, showing off investments in housing and infrastructure. But there were signs the city is struggling.
The Prime Minister spent the day there celebrating the government's housing achievements.
But Newshub can reveal there are nearly 700 children living in Hamilton motels.
Danzy says she would push her party for more.
And make sure that as a Member of Parliament for Hamilton West, I'm banging on ministers' doors and making sure they're hearing about all these issues.
And you have them right here, so what would you like to ask them?
She's
showing us.
Look, I've had them both here before, and they're here again, and they're coming before the election, and we're having these conversations as we go.
The by-election was brought on by Gaurav Sharma, the former Labour MP who turned on his party.
You've got to stand up and take a stand.
Then resigned before he was pushed.
You're not back in there yet.
Well, no, I'm waiting for you to vote for me. Will you?
Reminders are never far away on the ground.
Who's resigned? Oh, the
previous Labour Party.
Yes. Indian fella.
Gaurav Sharma, yeah.
44% of voters believe Labour handled the saga badly.
Look, I think Labour did the best they could.
Do you think voters will punish you for how that played out in Parliament?
No, I don't think so.
But Sharma still believes he can work with Labour. He's starting a new centrist party and claims it could go with either side.
Do you think they'd want to work with you?
Well, that's a question for them.
The party's first policy aimed at cost of living, removing GST on food.
Because it affects everyone, whether you're rich or poor. You could be a doctor, you could be a patient, you could be a tradie. Everybody's got to eat.
ACT is targeting immigration.
Immigration is another issue that fits into the cost of living. A lot of it's to do with just wage price inflation and the productivity issues there. It pushes prices up.
Launching their new immigration policy at Hamilton's Modern Transport Engineers. Business is booming for these trailer manufacturers, but they're struggling to bring in migrant staff.
A place like this would get faster processing times. It wouldn't have to argue about whether the skills are needed.
ACT would replace temporary work visas, but their policy comes at a cost. Employers would have to pay a fee to get workers, one that goes up and down with demand.
It'll go as high as people are prepared to pay. It's about setting a price to balance supply and demand, and that's a far smarter idea.
ACT's James McDowell is the only candidate who's a current sitting MP. He's competing with National's Tama Potaka for the same pool of voters on the centre-right.
Are you worried about right-wing voters splitting the vote in Hamilton West?
They can vote for whoever they like.
One thing the candidates all share in common, all see themselves as the underdog.
I've been described as the underdog before, and as you know, I've been described as the dark horse as well.
If you look at the stats, the last 6 elections, 5 of them have gone to National.
So it's a very much grassroots-led campaign.
Someone has to win in the Garden City, where it won't just be about one by-election.
Have you tried?
But reading the tea leaves for election year.